Good day. Today we will be presenting about the various stages of research writing. My name is Ami Suswaela and I'm together with my group mates.
These are the various stages of research writing that we will be discussing today. Topic: introduction, research problem, objectives, hypothesis, literature review, research design, discussion, conclusion, as well as recommendations.
Topic. A topic is the general subject of a paragraph or an essay. Topics are simple and described with just a word or a phrase. Choosing the right topic is the first step in research writing. Topics give an overview of what the research is about. A good topic is clear and interesting, as Swells and Fick 2012 claim that selecting a topic that aligns with current scholarly conversations while allowing room for original contribution is essential for meaningful research. How to find a research topic? Reflect on your interests. Start by making a list of subjects that excite you academically and personally. Review recent literature. Explore recent papers to find trends and debates. Identify a research gap. Here you have to find the areas that lack data. Formulate a research question. Narrow the topic to a focused, clear question. Consult with experts. Gather feedback from mentors or advisors. Assess feasibility. Ensure you have resources needed for research. Stay flexible. Be open to refining your topic as your research. Introduction. An introduction is the first paragraph of your paper and provides background information on the topic. It is the second stage in research writing. Tristan Fried, Carol Foltz, Maya Lentner, Alexander R. Facaro, 2019, claim that if written correctly, the introduction piques the reader's interest as well as serves as a roadmap for the rest of the paper. Firstly, you introduce your topic by telling the reader what your topic is and why it's important. This is usually a strong opening hook. Next would be to give any necessary background information, any context they would need to understand your topic. Once that's done, you present your argument and narrow your focus to show exactly what you want to say about the topic. This is the most important part of your introduction, which requires evidence and explanation. And lastly, mapping out your paper is often dedicated to a brief overview of the rest of the paper. It should be concise, direct, and written in present tense.
Research problem. Research problem is something that is unknown, unclear, and insufficiently understood within a particular topic. The problem must be specific enough to guide focused research and solving the research problem using methods and evidence, not just opinion. It focuses on the explained or mentioned issues to avoid vague topics and introduces new ideas. It also allows in the formulation of hypotheses and the creation of research methods. Identify a broad field of interest, conduct a review of existing literature, and write variables and their relationship. Research writing helps in identify what will be studied while avoiding the value-landed words. In a nutshell, the research problem stage includes identifying and articulating a clear, important, and researchable issues. It launches the foundation for the objective and clarifies the focus of the study. Alex 2025 supports this by stating it defines the focus of the study and guides the formulation of research questions and objectives.
Objectives. Coursework and Coursework in 2018 states that objectives are specific results that a researcher expects to achieve by conducting the study. They guide the collection, analysis, and interpretation of data. And then we have types of objectives. We have general objectives and specific objectives. General objectives. These are the wide-ranging statements that point out the whole purpose of the research by Kumar in 2019. For example, to examine the impact of alcohol consumption in school. Specific objectives. These are detailed and specific statements that show what the researcher aims to achieve, and it involves further breaking down or rather narrowing the general objective. This was by Coursework and Coursework in 2018. For example, to examine the impact of consuming the beer named Black Label on BAC students. And the importance of objectives. They communicate the intent of the research. Objectives clearly point out the purpose and goals of the research to readers. They make it easier to evaluate the success of the research because they act as a reference point, and by comparing the results with their objectives, the researcher can get to know where the questions answered and where the initial goals met. According to Saunders, M. Lewis, and Thornhill, a research hypothesis is a formal statement that provides a possible answer to the research question and guides data collection and analysis. For example, if the topic is about whether energy drinks help people stay awake longer, a hypothesis might be people who drink energy drinks will stay awake longer than those who don't. And then we have types of hypotheses: a null hypothesis and an alternative hypothesis. A null hypothesis is a statement or assumption that there is not any notable effect, or a claim that the effect being studied does not exist. This is by Kumar in 2019. For example, there is no notable difference in academic performance between students who come for all-night studies in Botswana Accountancy College and those who don't. Alternative hypothesis. It predicts a relationship or an easily notable difference. It opposes the null hypothesis. This is by Coursework in 2019. For example, students who come for all-night studies in Botswana Accountancy College score higher in exams as compared to those who don't. Importance of hypothesis. It guides the research and facilitates theory development as it can contribute to the development of new theories.
Literature review. Literature review is essentially an overview of an already existing topic that has already been previously discussed and written by other researchers. A literature review discusses shared interest by agreeing, disagreeing, as well as pointing out gaps or adding points of your own where you feel as the information provided may be incomplete. Traduced 2024 supports this by stating it provides the necessary background information and theoretical foundation needed to understand your research question. Over a period, the points discussed in a research paper can end up being misleading or false altogether. That is why it is important for research to occasionally put out new literature reviews, as it keeps information about a topic relevant and up to date. The research design. The research design is responsible for the overall presentation of the work being presented, and as expected, this can make or break the validity of the report as it sets the standard for how the rest of the report should appear. When writing a report or literature review, it is crucial to consider the design that will be used, as it includes the structure of the study itself. Data collection, research questions, as well as techniques used to analyze that data. Pedersen M. 2024 states that a research design consists of several key components that influence the study's validity and reliability. This supports that a research design has multiple components that all contribute to how reliable a study is deemed to be. The research design is crucial to any literature review, as it allows the research to stay true to what has been set as its objectives, therefore also providing clarity as well as direction.
Discussion. The discussion section of research focuses on examination, description, and interpretation of research findings. According to R. Dunton, the discussion section reviews findings and puts them into context of all research. The discussion answers questions posed in the introduction by using results collected during research. Structure of a discussion. Summarizes key findings from the research and combine them to the initial research question. Interpretation. Discusses whether the results met your expectation or subverted your hypothesis, and explain unexpected results and evaluating their significance. Implications. This refers to the possible impact or influence of research provided. Recommendations. Provide a brief look at potential follow-up research studies. Recommend areas where further investigations may be required.
Conclusion. This is the stage that synthesizes the major findings of the research paper briefly and distinctly. It highlights the significance of the results. As Villard 2020 mentioned, keep it short and clear. It is not an opportunity to repeat what has been said earlier. It may also summarize answers to the questions, to the research questions or hypotheses. A good conclusion should provide clear understanding on the research outcomes. Kim 2020 supports this by saying, thus, researchers must ask themselves, so what? Who cares? And be able to provide answers to these two questions to ensure successful study executions. This is to ensure that the conclusion provides closure, clarity, and comprehension on the research. Recommendations. Recommendations are practical suggestions derived from the study's findings. They may include proposals for practices to be done to find solutions or improvements to be made, or even proposals for further research to advance the topic. Recommendations should be specific and directly linked to the conclusions made on the research. That concludes our presentation. Thank you.